Hello and welcome to another video. I'm sick, so hopefully this will be a short one. This is a video about how pre-commit.ci, a problem in pre-commit.ci, well, not a problem with pre-commit.ci, a problem using pre-commit.ci, will result in everyone's runs getting a little bit faster if they're using a particular hook, and potentially a speed improvement for anybody that uses Black. And part of it is due to a video that I made. Let's jump into it. Okay, so I was actually reached out to by the maintainers of FreeCAD, or I believe a contributor, I'm not sure, somebody involved with FreeCAD, specifically about this issue. They didn't lead me to this issue, but I ended up finding it later, so details. But what was happening is FreeCAD was pretty frequently hitting the run timeout limitation on pre-commit.ci. I have a 3-minute limit for free tiers so that the system isn't easy to abuse, and generally your linters and code formatters shouldn't take that long, but they were running into this limit and often queuing behind themselves, and so often they had really, really slow runs and runs that just never finished. And they managed to find at least a date that they knew that it was happening on, and I was reached out by someone that was, actually I believe it was this individual who reached out to me. And I went and debugged it for them and found a few things that were kind of interesting. First, running pre-commit with verbose gives you timing information, and so they were able to, or I was able to pinpoint which things were slow. And it looks like the black hook was taking almost all of the time. And I also noticed that some of the files in the repo were particularly large, and my hypothesis was that black was taking a long time on very large files, and it seemed to be true. This particular file was pretty slow. Here's some examples of ones that were particularly slow. I just looked for files with 5-digit byte sizes. Or no, what did I do here? Oh, 5-digit line counts. Even worse. And guessed that these were the ones that Black was having trouble with, and I was almost, almost assuredly correct in that guess. I also noticed that they were using the purelib Black, and this is actually, we'll come into how we managed to fix this for them, but also fix it for every pre-commit.ci user. This installs from source, and due to the way Black's build system works, it doesn't do the mypyc compilation. I really think it just should. I don't know why it doesn't, but not my project. I don't care. But Black has set up a pre-commit mirror that also installs the precompiled Black, so that you get mypyc speedups, and it tends to be, I mean, mypyc tends to claim about a 60% improvement, but in practice, I've really only seen about like a 30% improvement on Black. Maybe it's just not a particularly well-suited thing for mypyc. I don't know. But yeah, and here's actually the same number here, about a 30% improvement. So I noticed, hey, changing this to this can improve the speed, so why not do it for everyone? And this is actually how they fixed it. They did the actual switch over here. They also excluded those particularly large files. We'll get back to that later. But I decided to implement this for pre-commit.ci, so anyone who's using psf/black will automatically get migrated to this Black mirror. Not the TV show. But I should have just called it Black Mirror. That would have been funnier. Anyway, so everyone across the platform is going to receive this update. Hooray! But I wanted to call out a second thing that I noticed. When I was looking at this, I noticed, hey, there's one particular file that's slowing down the entire run. And in the back of my head, I was like, huh, I wonder if Black has the optimization that I've talked about in previous videos. Specifically, this video, multiprocessing, slow things first, where I talk about this particular, okay, here's a really old paint drawing. Let's see if I can bring this up. Why is it not working? Okay, yeah. This really old paint drawing from the previous video. So I'm gonna very quickly summarize what was in that video. Say you have a bunch of work that has variable sizing here. You can imagine some of it is these short tasks, these red and orange ones, and we're gonna assume no dependencies here. Like everything is just, trivially parallelizable. And then you have these larger chunks of work. There's blue, purple, and blue, purple, and green. I know what colors are. Holy crap. Oh, yeah. Sickness is ruining my brain. Anyway, if you schedule these in order, you'll often end up with a case where you distribute your work and you have a bunch of wasted time on an idle worker because you haven't put the slow things first, these big chunks of work. You can see here, just naively scheduling them in order as things are ready, you end up with a bunch of idle time on one of your two workers, if you have two workers here. Imagine if you have 8, same problem, but in different ways. But if you schedule the slow things first, you have a lot less wasted time because you can bin pack the things more properly. You can start with your slow things and then, you know, as needed, fill in the other work, and it happens to schedule a lot nicer. And so I thought in my head, I wonder if I could do this for black. And so I looked into it and wrote up this long issue about how to potentially do this. I used the example of FreeCAD because I knew it was slow and knew it had these very large files. So I figured this is a good macro benchmark for showing the problem. I wrote a reproducible script so that I could show it before and after. I'm using non-pre-commit black, but I assume the things translate to the actual one. And you can see this is my baseline, about 33 seconds to run across the whole thing. I just did a hacky patch here to sort the inputs to their multiprocessing thing. They actually do a bunch of stats beforehand. And so this actually wastes a bunch of work, but there's a potential improvement where it doesn't need to waste this work, but I didn't bother. I just wanted something to prove out the idea and see whether it was something that would work. And on that repo, I get what, almost a 6-second improvement. So like a 20%, no, 30% improvement. Quick math. So yeah, it seems like this you know, this idea applies here. So maybe black will improve with this. But anyway, wanted to walk you through an interesting thing that came up because someone's run was slow and how I ended up figuring it out, improving it for everyone, and then also separately leveraged a video of mine to potentially improve even more for more of everyone. Anyway, hopefully you found this useful. If there are additional things you would like me to explain, leave a comment below or reach out to me on the various platforms. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.